I'm going to put in windows. Okay, it doesn't look exactly like this, but the point here is the point. You're prototyping the condition, right? The interface between the store and the street. We could paint this part of it black, that part white, articulate the face of the building, etc., but we're not going to bother with that right now. I'm going to save this as lesson 12 and put in, basically I'm putting glazing. These openings are all random widths and height, except for the doors. I think the doors are correct 36 by 84, in which case we can use a standard door or model a single door as a component and duplicate it. A couple of ways to go about this. The easiest way is to draw right into it and then quickly make that element a group or a component. So I've drawn a rectangle, double-clicked. Make it a group. You call it something if you want, glass panel. The point is, now you can select it, paint it with a material. Close the group, right? You can push it back into the model a bit. Make it look a little realistic if we just sort of move it to the midpoint in there. This is pretty straightforward, right? Ideally, we'd be able to use it over there. We could select that, copy from this endpoint, tap the control key, and place it there, right? So it puts it in the right place, buries the rest of it in there. Why not? Don't bother with it. It may be too big for this window. Let's see. That's on a different plane too, so we'd have to rotate it. Tap the control key. Right? Because it's a group, we can modify it. Watch what I do now. This is kind of cool. Leveraging the properties of SketchUp. If you select this edge and move it to where it's going to be, it's going to take the geometric shape with it. So you see what I've done? Midpoint, outside active. Effectively the same thing. Cool, huh? Yeah. Close this group. We don't care that it's skewed with respect to the X, Y, Z axis. Doesn't matter. Once it's in place, you don't have to worry about it. I can do that again with this shape. Now, it sits in the middle of the window because I'm grabbing by the end point here. Tap the control key. It's going to place it with respect to that point. Well, let's see. This isn't. Is that going to help us over here? Might be more work than it's worth. Let's just draw new windows here. Okay, so that's one way to go about it. Don't forget to create layers for these things. Really easy to forget. Make it a group. Paint it. Close the group. Move it to the midpoint of the wall here. I'm going to stop the video and then just save the model when I'm done, because it's kind of boring to watch me do the same thing. The only thing you might do more elaborately is, the door component itself. You may want to make the rails and stiles out of wood and then put a glass panel in the middle. Let me go ahead and create a layer for glazing panels, because that's what a curtain wall is composed of. And take each one of these elements that we just modeled, these 4 groups. Let's make sure. There's a group. There are 2 of those. 2, 3, 4. Move them to glazing panels. Well, all right, I'll finish these. Might hide the guides at this point. They're kind of getting in the way. If you've drawn the geometry carefully enough, this work is easy. But you have to proceed in organized fashion and keep drawn layer 0, never change the active layer, and push geometry off to respective layers. Make this a group. Oops. If you wanted to get really realistic, you could draw a frame around the glass panels. That's actually what you would see in a curtain wall. See them moving to the midpoint. So the glass sits. Don't forget to push it to the glazing panel layer. 3 more to go, and the 2 transoms, which might be the same size. Make it a group. Why do I make it a group right away? Because that gives you control over the element, so you're not modifying anything else. Move it to the middle midpoint. Incidentally, curtain wall panels or usually have a designation B as in baby, C as in Charlie, F as in Fox. Guess what they stand for? Back, center, front. It's where you want the panel to sit with respect to the frame. This would be a C condition. An F condition would be here, and a B condition would be back there. Something to know about curtain walls. Move that to glazing panels. Let's draw the transom. Make it group. Move it. SketchUp wants to snap to everything. Yeah, be patient. Gotta find that midpoint. No one's gonna know, really. There it is. If you don't put it exactly at the midpoint. I'm gonna try to copy this to, no I'm not, because then I have to play with it in 3D, and because it's not coplanar. So let's just make that one. Move it back into midpoint. Let's have a little fun with the door. Because the door is going to be the same size. I'm going to make it a component. So consider this. That should give us a 36 by 84. Yep. Double click, make it a component. Edit, make component. I'm going to call it 36 by 84 wood door with glazing. All right, I'm going to nest components within it, so watch what we may do with that. Now when I double click this, first thing I want to do is create an offset and then adjust that offset. So let's use the language of 5 inches that we've already established. Maybe 6 inches might work a little bit better because the styles of a door would probably be at least that wide. If you don't know what I mean by door rails or door styles, look it up. It's something you need to be familiar with. Give you a hint. Rails are horizontal, styles are vertical. Offset. Oops, I have to select. Let's try that again. Offset. 6 inches. And let's say the kick wants to be more like 12. So just take that line and move it up. Blue axis, 6 inches. All right? Now I'll show you a trick. You can cut that to the clipboard and save it and make the glass panel out of it afterwards. So this is going to become the door frame. I'm going to push it inwards 2 inches. 2. Triple click. 1, 2, 3. Make it a component. This is a component within a component. It's a nested component. It's a very powerful concept in SketchUp. Edit. Make component. Door frame. Door wood frame. I'm not going to go nuts specifying. Right. Create. Now I can double click this. And I have all of those. And I'm going to paint them wood. Make believe we have a cherry. With a slightly different color for that. Close that component. Now I'm still within the door component. Now I edit, paste in place. And that's the thing that I cut out before. And I double click that and make that a component. Make component. Glass. Panel for door. Right? So now that's a component. I can double click it. Paint it, don't paint it wood. Close that component, and let's push that component. Remember, we're still within the door component. Let's push that component inside. Close component. So this is a component that's made up of 2 nested components within it. Because it's the same size as that opening, I can take it. I'm recording. Come in. Because it's the same size as this door, I can take that component, select it, copy it by an endpoint, tap the control key, and place it in place. Now, because it's not on the same plane, it appears to be slightly ajar.